Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us. Next up then will be Junior Rotax Heat 2. Then we're going to have Honda Race 3. Micromax Heat 2 will follow shortly after that, but we will have another interlude as a guest class joins us that we're not covering as part of the CKC JKC package. We're just having a quick look then at the grid for our next race, which will be joining us in around about a minute and a half's time out on circuit. Max Shields then will start on pole position alongside Jacob Vickers, who got DQ'd from that opening race for a technical infringement. He starts alongside with Thomas Elston and Oliver Buckton, row 2, Bartek Filipiak and Curtis Latimer, who retired from Heat 1. He's going to start 6th. Sandro Ballesteros will be 7th alongside Heat 1 winner Nicholas Ellis. He starts 8th, with Sam Stoner and Tom Holden completing the top 10. Ollie Naylor and Harry Hurst Grover are on row number 6. Then we've got Jaden Hewitt and Finlay Whiting, with Oliver Green, the novice runner, completing the Junior Rotax grid here at Fulbeck. There they are. That is on the right-hand side. That is the 25 of Jacob Vickers, who we mentioned did have that infringement that saw him removed from the standings for the opening race. Max Shields then swaps Junior Pro Kart machinery for Junior Rotax machinery aboard the currently Tony Kart liveried 181 machine, but I expect that to change to his more commonly colours of white, orange and black later on in the season. It's Oliver Buckton in his Autism Motion but machinery, incredibly focused, just looking forwards and nothing else, focused on this race. And it's interesting to see drivers there with Sam Stoner promoting his Instagram page on the side of his helmet. And I say it's really interesting to see drivers and how they go about getting ready for a race. Some of them are like incredibly focused. We've seen Max Shields in previous races before, certainly the standing start one. It's almost like he's listening to music in his own ears as he dances around getting himself ready. That's his way of keeping himself calm on the grid as the camera makes its way down the grid. We are not quite clear on track yet. The race is finished, but there's a couple of karts to be collected out there on circuit from the preceding event. But the marshals working quickly, as they have throughout the day here at Fulbeck, to keep the circuit clear and to keep the action continuous on track. The sun certainly coming down now as you see it glistening off the helmets of the drivers here at Fulbeck, down there on the dummy grid, Parc Fermé, as we await the opportunity to go racing again here at in Lincolnshire. It looks like we're getting green flags at most posts now. Certainly there was a kart to be collected from down at turn 1. And the final few runners being cleared as we make our way down towards the tail end of the grid. Harry Hurst Grover there with his blue and red helmet. And, shining now in the sunshine. You wouldn't believe that less than an hour ago it was grey and raining. And, that was Finlay Whiting. We saw him close right up on the back in the previous race of our Heat 1 winner Nicholas Ellis. Now he's going to have to go, as it looked like there was a driver there potentially just rolling to a halt on the side of the circuit. Let's see if we're missing anybody as they come round, or whether we've just got somebody incredibly late out of the dummy grid with a problem. Looks like there's one there closing up, but everybody's now out onto the circuit. So that's the looks like the 38 of Sam Stoner potentially slowing on the out. Let's see, wait for him to come back through. Now Max Shields is going to lead them round. He gets to dictate the pace on these rolling starts, and he is going to have to back the pack up somewhat now, because we've still got runners just coming past the turn 2 chicane, although that is one of the I think that could be Oliver Green. He's going to come through on the novice plate at the back from Oldham in Manchester. So as long as we can get them started and the bulk of the pack are there, we should get the green and the authorization to go racing. Let's have a quick look, have a look at the lights up there. We are away. The red lights go off for Way and Racing, and it's Jacob Vickers who's managed to come across the front of Maximus Shields. And Shields, though, hard on the brakes, very, very late. He's going to try and get the run all the way around the outside there, but I fear he's going to get hung out to dry. Might even lose second place in the run down, but he has got track position as they head down to the second chicane. He has managed to hold on, but Jacob Vickers has looked. He's bolted at the head of the field. The 51 is close. That's Tom Elston closing in on Maximus Shields, with Oliver Buckton in P4. Holding off Nicholas Ellis, who's had a strong opening start of the race. That's Oliver. Oh, we've got 18 and the 85 off down there. Jaden Hewitt looks like he's spun in sympathy with Ollie Naylor going off down there at the turn 4 hairpin. So Naylor, who had a strong start to the day, but then had that incident in the opening heat, has now had another incident in the opening lap of heat number 2 here in Junior Rotax. We await the timing stack, but it looks like we've got a driver there losing drive. The 51, Tom Elston, and he's just going to pull that kart off. No drive for Elston. The kart rolls to a halt. He put the throttle down, and the kart just did not respond. And at least the yellow's out there potentially. Yeah, I'm thinking the chain may have come off here at Fulbeck. We see that quite a lot in terms of the karts bouncing over the curbs. And often, certainly in these Rotaxes, they run the chain quite loose, and he's put the power down, and the kart just hasn't responded. So potentially, he's taken the curb a little bit too much on the inside there. It's bounced the chain off, and no matter how much you pump the throttle, it will not respond if it's not connected to the rear axle. Top 4 actually have started to open up as Vickers and Shields leading the way. As now Oliver Buckton has to hand over third place to Nicholas Ellis. Ellis then showing good pace, making his way through. Let's have a quick look for Finn Whiting, who was the real pace setter in terms of on track in the previous, in heat number 1, but actually couldn't get past Nicholas Ellis. And in this one, Ellis starting a lot further up the field than what Whiting was. Whiting having to work his way through, and with this mixed up grid, he's got to work his way through, but he's got to work his way through cleanly. Don't want to pick up front fairing penalties for too much contact as they make their way round then over the line. We're already 2.5 minutes in, and we've seen drama for Hewitt, we've seen drama for Elston, we've seen drama as well for Ollie Naylor. As we got, we've got a couple off there, the 56 and the 81 off, and the 81 actually goes into the catch fencing on the exit of the chicane. Quite hard. That's Finley Whiting, the pace setter from heat number 1. He looks like he's going to head towards retirement in heat number 2. A day of mixed fortunes for Whiting, as we see in the background, and there is contact, and it was Whiting, the instigator, actually getting into the back of Curtis Latimer and then just going straight off into the wall. Looks like the kart is still out there. Let's see, I don't know if the driver is still in it. We're just having a quick look to see whether he's managed to stand up. We are actually going to slow it down under the black and yellow flag. That's known as the Battenberg. That means that the front runner, which is Jacob Vickers in this case, he's going to take over as the de facto pace kart. They're going to slow the pace right down. The time at the top of the screen is going to continue to elapse, though, as this race continues. So the race is still going, but the front runner has to take the pack round now. He's going to lead the way, and then we're going to have a rolling start again when that Battenberg flag comes in. But I say the front runner is going to lead us round. I think that we just needed time to get that kart out of the way, get the driver out of the kart as well, because I don't think it was the most comfortable of exits from that race for Finn Whiting as he went off into the catch fencing. The 28 rolls in to the pit lane as well, Oliver Green. So drivers, we have lost a few of them in the early part of this race. There is Finn Whiting down there on the outside of the circuit. I think he's going to now just walk his way back towards the infield section. Looks like he is actually okay. And that one might be, rather than anything wrong with the driver, it might just have been a massive hit to his morale after a good opening race. Will retire from the second race of the day. I think we're going to have another lap under Battenberg, so it's going to be at least another minute or so before we get to go racing. Normal lap times around about 45 seconds. The pace slowed to 1 minute and 15, 1:16 on that previous lap. So 30 seconds slower, but that will allow us to clear the circuit of karts and make sure that Finn Whiting is okay. The Battenbergs are coming in at all the posts that the karts have already gone past, so they'll see them coming through all the way through now until the start line. Then they'll get a green, and we're effectively then going to get a condensed 2.5 minute plus 1 lap shootout in this junior Rotax class, with the entire field strung out nose to tail. So expect in a few minutes Jacob Vickers to slow this one down round the final complex of corners It will be entirely his prerogative to go, but he's going to have to wait till he's round the final corner because he is seeing Battenbergs as we go. He doesn't know that there's a green flag coming until we go round that final corner, and then he will get the confirmation that there is a green flag coming. No overtaking till the start line. The race, though, has been returned to green flag racing, and we're away once again in Junior Rotax as the entire field now streams down towards that first chicane. Hard on the brakes. Looks like everybody's made it through there cleanly, even though it is nose to tail, as there's some potential for overtakes in the background. Ollie Naylor and Jaden Hewitt, the two of those two now being able to return back onto the back of the pack, having been at least half a lap down after their opening lap incident saw them well out of the way. They've been given a second bite of the cherry here in Junior Rotax, but they still have to make their way back through. Naylor in 10th, Hewitt in 12th respectively, working their way back through the field with Finn Whiting, Oliver Green and Thomas Elston all off into retirement. So 12 runners of the 15 that started. 2 minutes remaining in the Junior Rotax class. So it's Vickers from Shields and Ellis, the top three. Ellis, though, coming under a lot of pressure from Oliver Buckton, who's managed to stick with the Heat 1 winner and tries to get a good run in the background. Sandro Ballesteros gets alongside Tom Holden, although Holden just runs around the outside, takes too much curb, though, and Tom Holden gets some air over the grass, and luckily, and I do mean that massively, stays in the right direction. Though in the background, he's gone off again at the second chicane, so potentially some handling issues really there for Tom Holden, who ran very, very wide onto the curb. And you were very lucky because here at Fulbeck, if you go that wide, you often get drawn into the tyre wall rather than drawn back to the track. Such is the nature of the grass. It's naturally going to bring you wider. So Tom Holden luckily managed to get off the power and keep his race alive, albeit well down the order as he crossed the line originally in 5th place, loses 6 places down to 11. We have 45 seconds remaining then in this race. We may well get 2 more laps of this because I think the leaders are going to come through before the last lap board comes out. And Jacob Vickers, who had started to move away prior to that Battenberg flag, hasn't managed to shake off Max Shields in the 181 machine. The Tony Kart liveried kart in green in the background. The reigning Junior Pro Kart champion in the Junior Kart Championship. As we mentioned earlier on in the day, electing to contest both races for the chance for 2 championships. Also, maximum screen time as well here on the Alpha Live channel. He's going to be in 8 races today. In the background, Oliver Buckton still battling with Nicholas Ellis, and Sandro Ballesteros is right on the back of that now. There's a 3-kart battle, but we stay with the lead as Max Shields cannot find a way past Jacob Vickers. But in the same way, Jacob Vickers cannot shake off Max Shields as Oliver Buckton tries to get alongside Ellis. He's in a difficult position in the middle of the sandwich where he has to attack, but he also has to defend. The other 2 drivers, they've only got one thing to do. It's either defend or attack. Buckton, though, has to do a little bit of both, and with the potential, if he overtakes, he may well lose that position to Sandro Ballesteros, who arguably, of the 3 of them, has more speed, but just cannot find a way through. Buckton tries to come to the inside. Last lap board is out then in the Junior Rotax class as Jacob Vickers puts in a personal best of a 45.6, but it's still slower than Max Shields' previous lap. The 2 leaders still nose to tail, and it's going to be very difficult though for Max Shields. It's going to be a heroic move, and it will probably have to be down into the hairpin as they come down here. He's going to have to send one down the inside, not close enough, and it's going to be very difficult to get a run through the complex. He might have to settle for second place. Jacob Vickers has really had to win this race twice. He went off the line, got into the lead, then the race was slowed down under Battenberg. He's had a 3-minute shootout, and Jacob Vickers takes victory in heat number 2.